Welcome to Talk Treatises.
It is. It's really good to be here today.
Yeah, we have a rather unusual file on the desk for this deep dive.
We really do.
Typically on this show, we're dissecting dense political manifestos or maybe some ancient Stoic scrolls.
Right, or the latest heavy-hitting academic papers on, like, artificial intelligence ethics. We like the heavy stuff.
But we do. We like the stuff that hurts your brain a little bit.
Exactly.
But today, I'm holding a book that, well, if you were to walk into a used bookstore, the ones...
The dusty ones with the rolling ladders?
Yes, exactly those. If you went in there, you would find this tucked away in the humor section. Or maybe under regional Americana.
Yeah, something quaint like that.
It's a collection of short stories from 1894 called More Short Sixes by H.C. Bunner.
H.C. Bunner, the editor of Puck magazine.
Right.
Which was basically the Mad magazine or the Onion of the Gilded Age.
Exactly. Yeah. So you listening are probably asking, why are we treating a joke book from the 19th century as a serious philosophical text?
It's a fair question.
But that's the hook, isn't it? Our argument for this deep dive is that this isn't just a collection of light verse and funny situations. This is a disguised treatise.
It is entirely a Trojan horse.
Yes. We are positing that Bunner uses the vehicle of the humorous short story to tackle the absolute heaviest questions of philosophy.
We're talking epistemology, ontology,
the nature of truth itself,
and the absolute crushing absurdity of the human condition. I mean, if you strip away the jokes, this book is actually terrifying.
It really is.
It argues that we don't live in reality. We live in a series of agreements, misunderstandings, and basically negotiated hallucinations.
So let's set the stage before we dive into the specific arguments. The year is 1894.
A fascinating year.
Contextualize that for us.
Mm-hmm.
Why is 1894 the breeding ground for this kind of existential questioning?
Well, think about the tension in the air at that moment. The Civil War is in the rearview mirror, but its ghosts are very much still there.
Right.
And you are deep, deep in the Gilded Age. Industrialization is just ripping apart the old social fabric.
The railroad, the telegraph, space and time are shrinking.
Exactly. You have this massive friction between the old America, which was rural, traditional, face-to-face interactions, very clear moral codes, and the new America.
The urban America.
Right. The cynical, fast-paced, highly transactional world of the city. People are moving around constantly. Identities are becoming fluid.
Because you could move to a new town and just be a completely new person.
Exactly. And in that fluidity, the concept of truth starts to get very shaky. Bunner is writing right on that fault line.
He's looking at how people try to maintain their dignity when the rules of reality seem to be changing, like every 5 minutes.
Yes.
And the thesis we're going to explore today, the one-sentence thesis, if you will, is that More Short Sixes argues that reality is a negotiable construct.
Maintained only by a very fragile agreement between the deceiver and the deceived.
And that dignity, if it exists at all, is found not in conquering the world, but in accepting its absurdity.
Dignity in the absurd. I like that.
So we're going to break this down into 5 parts, moving from the physical world all the way up to the highly abstract world of social constructs. Let's start at the bottom.
The foundation.
Part 1, the burden of existence. Or, as the syllabus might say, ontology and property.
And we are anchoring this on the story called The Cumbersome Horse.
Which is just a fantastic title.
It really is.
Because it implies that the horse isn't an animal, it's an inconvenience.
It's a complete category error.
Walk us through the setup. We have this character, Mr. Brimington.
Right. So Mr. Brimington is our avatar for the intellectual. He's a scholar.
A very cloistered kind of guy.
Very. He's a man who has spent his entire life preparing young men for college. He lives purely in the world of ideas. Latin, Greek, history.
Books in quiet rooms.
Exactly. And he inherits a significant sum of money, $40,000 from a maiden aunt.
Which was a fortune in 1894.
A massive fortune. And he decides to do what every burnt-out intellectual basically dreams of doing.
She wants to buy a farm and retreat from the world.
He wants a total clean slate. He wants to write a history of prehistoric man and note the subject matter there.
Yeah, that's not an accident.
No, he doesn't want to write about the messy, corrupt politics of 1894. He wants to write about the distant, silent, perfectly safe past.
He wants a vacuum?
Precisely. So he goes to Pike County, Pennsylvania, way out in the sticks, and he buys a farmhouse from a local man named Hiram Skinner.
Now, Skinner is the counterweight here.
Completely. Brimington is the idealist, and Skinner is the pragmatist, the hustler. Skinner sells him the house sight unseen.
Which in legal terms, is your first massive mistake.
The first of many. So Brimington arrives and the house is, well, it's painted gray.
A lead gray.
Every single inch of it. It is a profoundly depressed building, but the paint isn't actually the problem.
No. The problem is what Skinner left behind.
The encumbrance.
The white horse.
Now, describe this horse, because it's not just a standard farm animal, right? It feels like a creature out of a horror movie.
It's described as an immense whitish shape. It has this coffin-shaped head, huge knobby knees.
It sounds demonic.
And it has this pathological compulsion to throw itself against the front door of the house.
Right. It doesn't neigh, it bangs.
It's basically a siege weapon made of meat.
And here is where we get into the philosophy of property. Brimington thinks like John Locke.
The classical liberal view.
Yes. Locke argued that property is a natural right, life, liberty, and estate. You mix your labor with the land, or you buy the land, and you have dominion over it.
You draw a box on a map, and everything in that box is yours to control.
But the horse is a walking refutation of Locke.
Because it refuses to be controlled.
The horse is pure ontology. It is what Martin Heidegger would call Dasein, being there.
Just raw existence.
Yes. The horse is just there. It precedes the contract. It precedes the deed of sale. It is a biological fact that refuses to be ignored.
So Brimington tries to invoke the contract. He tells Skinner, take this animal away.
And Skinner pulls a linguistic judo move that I think is the key to the entire story. He defines the horse.
He calls the horse an encumbrance.
Now, look at that word closely. In real estate law, an encumbrance is a lien, or a mortgage, or an easement.
It's an abstract, legal, financial weight on a property.
It is paper.
So Skinner takes a living, breathing, wall-kicking animal and categorizes it as a piece of paperwork.
He shifts the problem from the physical reality, the fact that the horse is literally banging on the door, to the legal reality.
Right.
He says the horse is a contract clause.
And because Brimington is a scholar, because he lives entirely in the world of words, he accepts this.
He does. He stops fighting the physical horse and starts accepting the legal definition.
He actually says, I suppose I am to regard the horse as a sort of lien upon the place. That is just a massive surrender.
It is a profound surrender. He sanitizes the chaos of the physical world by trapping it in legal language.
But the irony, of course, is that calling it a lien doesn't stop it from trying to break down the door.
Yeah.
Not at all. The horse is actively suicidal, too. It's an agent of pure chaos.
It falls down embankments. It tries to bolt into the kitchen.
It is the exact messiness of life that Brimington was trying to escape. He wanted prehistoric man the dead, quiet past. He got the horse, the living, chaotic past.
Because the horse belonged to the previous owner, Colonel Josh Pincus.
Exactly. It is the ghost of the previous owner, manifested as a white beast. So Brimington is completely stuck.
He's too gentle to shoot the horse.
And Skinner flat out refuses to take the horse back. The law says the horse is his encumbrance, so what is the solution?
The solution is absurdism.
It is. It is Albert Camus 101.
The myth of Sisyphus.
Yes, the man condemned to push a rock up a hill forever. Camus says the struggle itself toward the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy.
Right.
Brimington realizes he cannot remove the rock. He cannot remove the horse, so he accommodates it.
He builds a stable for it.
He actually hires Skinner, the very man who tricked him, to build a comfortable house for this monster. He buys it provender. He integrates the absurdity into his daily life.
It feels like a very modern conclusion. You can't fix the world. You can't fix the chaos. You just have to build a little house for it so you can get back to work.
It's the only way he can write his history book. He has to pay tribute to the chaos first.
That is a heavy opening salvo. Reality is a white horse you cannot get rid of.
Which leads us directly into the next philosophical question. If we cannot control reality, can we at least lie about it effectively?
That brings us to part 2, the ethics of deception.
We are looking at utilitarianism versus Kantian truth.
And we have 2 stories here that are perfect mirror images of each other. Mr. Vincent Egg and The Wage of Sin, and The Man with the Pink Pants.
I love these 2 stories because they rigorously test the morality of the fabricated narrative.
Let's start with Vincent Egg.
Vincent Egg is a tragic figure. He is a drunkard, a failed writer living in this squalid little French town called Drignan.
And he writes guidebooks.
Which is already intellectually interesting. A guidebook is a filter.
Right. It tells you what to see and exactly how you should feel about it.
Exactly. He is a professional semiotician. He creates signs for a living. Now he encounters a family in absolute destitution.
Virginie, the washerwoman's daughter.
Yes. Her father is injured, her mother is terribly sick, and there is a baby with a severe spinal disease. It is l'epistemology levels of human suffering.
And Egg desperately wants to help. But he has no money. He drank it all.
So he uses the only currency he has left, his ability to lie.
His ability to create narrative.
He finds an old, ruined stable in the town. It is nothing, just a pile of rocks and garbage. But Egg decides to transmute it.
He paints a sign.
He declares this absolute garbage pile to be the historic meeting place of the poet Petrarch and his muse, Laura, in the year 1337.
He completely invents a historical site.
He creates value out of thin air. He puts it in his guidebook, and suddenly the tourists come.
They flock to it.
They pay an admission fee, and that money goes directly to Virginie.
It buys medicine for the baby.
It literally saves the family from starvation.
This is the ultimate noble lie.
And it forces you, the listener, to choose a philosophical side. If you are a strict Kantian, you have to say Egg is immoral.
Because he is lying.
Right. He is corrupting the objective historical record. He is treating the tourists as mere means to an end. For Kant, truth is a categorical imperative.
You cannot violate it no matter the consequences.
But if you are a utilitarian...
If you follow Jeremy Bentham or John Stuart Mill.
Exactly. You look at the units of happiness.
Yeah.
The washerwoman is happy because her family survives. The baby is happy because it has medicine and less pain. Egg is happy because he finally has a purpose.
And, this is the crucial part, the tourists are happy.
Are they? They are being duped.
But do they know that?
That's the question. They stand in that ruined stable and they feel sentiment. They feel a deep romantic connection to Petrarch.
They get the exact emotional experience they paid for.
The argument here is that for the tourist, the factual truth, the fact that it's just a stable, is actually less valuable than the narrative truth, the idea that Petrarch loved here.
So the lie genuinely creates more value than the truth.
In this specific closed system, yes. Egg proves that history is often just a signifier, a painted board that we collectively agree to believe because raw reality is too boring.
But Bunner doesn't let us off the hook that easily.
Not at all.
Because then he gives us the man with the pink pants.
And this shows the incredibly dark side of that exact same power.
This story's a nightmare.
It really is. It's about a man named Silo. He is wealthy, powerful, arrogant. He crushed a much smaller man in a business deal.
Let's call him the Avenger. Typical Gilded Age tycoon behavior from Silo.
Right, but the Avenger doesn't sue Silo. He doesn't pull a gun on him.
He weaponizes language.
He creates a rumor. He writes an anonymous letter accusing Silo of walking through town on a Thursday night wearing pink pants.
Why pink pants? I mean, why not accuse him of theft? Or adultery?
Because theft and adultery are logical crimes. They belong to the realm of reason.
They can be disproven with logic.
Exactly. You can say, I was at the bank, or I was with my wife. You can provide an alibi. But pink pants is purely absurd.
It's vivid, ridiculous, and sticky.
It is a meme.
It hooks right into the public imagination.
The townspeople cannot stop picturing it. Pink pants, why? Was it a secret society? Was he drunk? The image completely overrides the man.
And Silo tries to fight it with facts.
Which is absolutely fatal.
You cannot use logic to fight a symbol.
The more he denies it, the more he has to say the words, pink pants.
Yeah.
He connects his own name to the symbol even tighter with every denial.
And it destroys him.
Completely. He loses his high standing in the church. He loses his pristine reputation.
He actually starts drinking.
The rumor, the lie, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. He becomes a broken, disreputable man, just like the rumor suggested he was.
So in Egg's story, the lie saves a life. In Silo's story, the lie destroys a life.
But the underlying mechanic is identical. Reality is weak. The narrative is strong.
We are so epistemically vulnerable.
We really are. We think we were solid physical beings. But socially, we are just a collection of stories other people tell about us. If someone changes the story, they change us.
That is incredibly relevant to the digital age for you listening. We are all just a collection of data points and rumors online.
If the algorithm decides you are the pink pants guy, you are the pink pants guy forever.
There is no court of appeal for the absurd.
None.
Let's move up the ladder. We've talked about physical reality and reputation. Now let's talk about the self.
The core of human identity.
Part 3. Identity, mimicry, and the construction of personality.
The fundamental question here is, do we have a soul, or are we just constantly copying the people standing next to us?
The story The Gula tackles this head on.
It does, and it starts with a very specific 1890s flavor.
Theosophy.
Right, Madame Blavatsky. Seances. hidden spiritual masters.
The character Billings is deep into this stuff.
He believes in the gula. It's this mystical idea that souls can swap bodies or invisibly influence each other. Now, he has an employee, Big Mitch.
Big Mitch is a roughneck, a brute.
A disagreeable beast, I think the text says.
And Billings also has a student, Penryn,
who is the opposite, a refined, gentle, very scholarly young man.
So Billings observes them together and notices a change.
Big Mitch starts acting polite. He stops swearing. He starts dressing a little better.
Conversely, Penryn starts getting a little rougher around the edges.
And Billings thinks, aha, soul swap.
He thinks it's metaphysical.
He thinks spirits are literally migrating between bodies, but the narrator and the reader can see what's actually happening.
It's not theosophy, it's sociology.
It is pure mimicry. Big Mitch looks at Penryn and thinks, that is what a gentleman looks like. He hates his own roughness, so he copies Penryn.
He imitates the walk, the talk, the manners.
It's the classic fake it till you make it.
It's Aristotle's concept of habituation.
Yes. Aristotle argued that virtues aren't innate. We acquire them by exercising them. We are what we repeatedly do.
So Mitch acts like a gentleman until the mask sticks to his face. He becomes a gentleman entirely through performance.
And
Penryn is copying Mitch.
He thinks, I'm too soft. Mitch is a real man. So he starts copying the roughness. It's just a continuous feedback loop of imitation.
But the key insight is that Billings, the observer, needs a mystical explanation.
We always want the magic explanation. We want to believe in the soul as this rigid, glowing orb inside us.
Bunner is saying, look, there is no immutable soul. You are just a sponge soaking up the behaviors of the people around you.
Identity is a performance, not a biological fact.
Which brings us perfectly to the ultimate performer, Mrs. Fortescue.
What Mrs. Fortescue did. I absolutely adore this story.
Introduce her to the audience.
Mrs. Fortescue is an aged actress living in an old lady's home. She spent her youth in comic opera, wearing pink tights, dodging bouquets thrown on stage.
She's a creature of the stage.
She is never not acting.
And she gets a job. Well, a scam job, really.
She is hired to pretend to be the aristocratic cousin of a millionaire, Mr. Philly, to go check up on his ward at a fancy boarding school.
She isn't his cousin. She's a pauper.
But she takes the role, and she plays it to the absolute hilt.
She sweeps into that school like royalty.
She interrogates the teachers. She writes these flowery, imperious reports back to Philly. She isn't lying in her own mind. She is simply in character.
But then reality crashes in.
Her old theatrical posters are found. The school principal realizes she isn't a duchess. She's a showgirl.
The gig is up. She is totally exposed as a fraud.
Now, a normal person in that situation would crumble. They would apologize. They would feel immense shame.
But Mrs. Fortescue.
She doubles down.
Amazing.
She treats the exposure as just a plot twist in a play. She acts the role of the outraged dignitary.
Storms out.
She goes right to Mr. Philly, the millionaire, and she reenacts the entire confrontation for him. She mimics the principal. She mimics herself. She turns her own deep humiliation into a one-woman show.
And Philly. He laughs.
He laughs out loud. He pays her, and he forgives her completely.
Why? I mean, he knows she lied.
Because Mr. Philly represents the benevolent observer.
You could argue he's a stand-in for God, or perhaps for the author himself.
Exactly. He knows we are all faking it. He knows identity is a performance. He forgives Mrs. Fortescue because she's a good performer.
She entertained him.
So the lesson is, if you're going to be a fraud, be an entertaining one.
Or even deeper, there is no true self to be true to.
The mask is the face.
Mrs. Fortescue is most herself when she is pretending to be someone else.
That is liberating and terrifying at the exact same time.
That's Bunner. Let's transition to part 4. We've dismantled the self. Now let's dismantle the state.
Justice, law, and hermeneutics.
The story Cutwater of Seneca is one of the most cynical takes on the legal system I have ever read in my life.
We have Judge Cutwater.
A fascinating villain.
He's a district attorney in a backwoods county. He's very smart, very agile. He quotes Latin while chewing tobacco.
And he has to prosecute a man named Jim Adsum for murder.
But there's a huge catch.
Cutwater knows Jim.
They are old friends. They worked in logging camps together. They slept under the same blankets in the freezing cold. Cutwater knows Jim is a simple, very decent guy.
But the job requires a conviction.
And this is where we see the total separation of the law from actual justice. Cutwater doesn't recuse himself.
He prosecutes Jim with absolute ferocity.
He delivers a closing argument that is a masterpiece of dark rhetoric. He paints his old friend as a bloodthirsty monster. He twists circumstantial evidence into a noose.
He secures the conviction. Jim is found guilty.
He wins the game. The jury says guilty. But then immediately after the verdict is read, Cutwater takes the defense lawyer aside.
He puts his arm around him.
And he whispers exactly how to file an appeal to get the verdict overturned based on a tiny technicality that he, Cutwater, planted during the trial.
He plays both sides of the chessboard.
It is the ultimate critique of the adversarial legal system. Cutwater proves that the law is not about finding the truth.
It is purely a performance.
It is a game with strict rules. He played the prosecutor role to win, and then he played the friend role to fix the damage.
It suggests that the institution is completely hollow. It's just smart men playing high-stakes word games while people's actual lives hang in the balance.
And if you think the law is absurd, wait until you get to the third figure in the cotillion.
The story explores hermeneutics.
The science of interpretation.
It takes place on Osserland,
An isolated island of herring fishermen. They are technically part of a great empire, but they are totally cut off from it.
They don't know court politics, they don't know fashion.
But they get a royal decree from the emperor.
Context for the listener. In the capital, there is a scandal about a dance, the cotillion.
Right. The third figure of the dance is considered too racy. So the emperor issues a decree saying, the use of the third figure in the cotillion is graciously granted.
The decree arrives on the island. The envoy reads it out loud and just leaves.
And the islanders are left holding this piece of paper. They have absolutely no idea what a cotillion is.
They don't dance. They fish.
So they have a text, but no context whatsoever.
This is the death of the author in action.
Exactly. The emperor's intent doesn't matter anymore. The islanders have to interpret the text based entirely on their own limited knowledge base.
The head Burgess thinks it's a tax term.
The local doctor thinks it's a chemical compound.
But the schoolmaster, the local intellectual, saves the day.
He decides, through sheer pseudo-intellectual confidence, that cotillion is a highly advanced mathematical term.
He claims it represents the 1/billionth part of a minus million in quaternions.
Which is absolute gibberish.
It is total nonsense. But the community loves it.
They decide the emperor has granted them a special mathematical formula for surveying their land.
They feel so honored. They revere the decree.
They are obeying a law that exists entirely in their own collective imagination.
It shows that authority is often just a blank screen we project our own meanings onto.
We obey the Constitution, or religious texts, or an employee handbook, but often we are just obeying our own interpretation of a text written by someone whose intent we can never truly know.
They're literally bowing down to a math error.
And they're so happy doing it. Again, the lie functions better than the truth. If they knew it was just about a fancy dance, they would feel left out and ignored.
Thinking it's about elite math makes them feel important.
We are entering the final stretch now, part 5, social constructs and the vitality of life.
We've torn down property, truth, identity, and the law. What remains?
The life force itself, the raw biological imperative to live, which constantly crashes against the rigid walls of social propriety.
Samantha Boomdier, based on the song Tarara Boomdier, a huge music hall hit at the time. A song entirely about losing control.
Samantha Spalding is a New England Puritan widow.
She is the fun police. She wears heavy black. She frowns constantly.
Her son wants to marry a dancer, and she is horrified. She represents the Apollonian principle. Order, repression, structure. She literally chases the young couple to stop the wedding.
She rides in an old carriage driven by her neighbor, Reuben Pett.
But nature intervenes.
A massive storm hits.
They get stuck in an old, abandoned sawmill. It's freezing cold, it's pitch dark, it's wet. The physical structure of civilization falls away.
And Reuben recalls that Samantha used to be a very lively girl before she became a professional widow.
He starts whistling the tune.
And Samantha cracks.
She dances. She doesn't just tap her foot. She does a full high kick. She whirls around the mill.
The widow mask falls off, and the human being underneath breaks out.
The Dionysian chaos erupts.
And she ends up marrying Reuben.
She chooses life over the construct. She realizes that being a respectable widow is a total bore, and being a living, breathing human being is actually fun.
We see a similar theme in Mr. Wick's Aunt.
This one exposes the absurdity of family labels.
A young couple cares for a baby to secure a family inheritance. But due to a bizarre quirk in the family tree,
the baby is technically the husband's aunt.
A 6-month-old aunt.
It sounds like a cheap sitcom setup, but it's a profound linguistic critique. We associate the word aunt with authority, age, wisdom.
Respect your aunt.
But here, the ant is a drooling infant.
It strips the title of its inherent power.
It shows that kinship is basically a legal fiction. We treat people certain ways because of the label mother, father, cousin, but those labels are just arbitrary tags.
Biology is messy. The labels try to tidy it up, but they fail.
And finally, we have My Dear Mrs. Billington. This brings us to the most isolating philosophical concept of all.
Solipsism.
This story is physically painful to read. A young man, Jack, loves a girl named Carmelita.
He is sitting in a room with Carmelita's mother, Mrs. Billington.
He tries to tell the mother a romantic story about a moment on a boat where she squeezed his hand in the dark.
He means the daughter.
But the mother thinks he means her. Mrs. Billington listens to this entire story and constructs an elaborate fantasy where she is the object of his desire.
She thinks he is proposing to her.
And the daughter, who is listening from the next room.
She hears the story and thinks Jack is lying because she knows she didn't squeeze his hand.
So who squeezed the hand?
A servant girl. A complete third party.
Total epistemic collapse.
Chaos.
The mother hears a proposal. The daughter hears a betrayal. The man speaks a truth that neither of them understands.
Everyone is trapped in their own ego.
We are all watching completely different movies in our own heads. We interpret every signal from the outside world to be about us.
Mrs. Billington desperately wants love, so she hallucinates a proposal.
We cannot truly know the mind of another person. We are utterly alone.
So we have arrived at the end of the book. We have white horses, fake shrines, pink pants, math decrees, dancing widows, and lonely lovers.
A wild ride.
What is the grand synthesis here? What is Bunner ultimately telling us?
I think Bunner is proposing a philosophy of gentle nihilism.
Unpack that for us.
Nihilism usually means nothing matters, so let's burn it all down. But Bunner says nothing matters, so relax. Look at all his characters. None of them possess the objective truth. Broomington doesn't have a quiet farm. He has a horse hotel.
Egg doesn't have a historical shrine. He has a profitable lie.
The Islanders don't have a royal law. They have a mathematical mistake.
That they are okay?
They survive. Why? Because they are kind to each other. Because they have humor.
Mr. Philly forgives Mrs. Fortescue.
Samantha dances in the mill. The Islanders are deeply proud of their fake math.
So the big takeaway for you listening is that we need to stop obsessing over objective reality because we can't access it anyway.
Exactly. Reality is a negotiable construct. It is a game we play together. We are all Vincent Egg painting signs in the dirt. We are all victims of pink pants rumors.
The world is absurd.
The only way to live with dignity is to build a stable for the white horse, accept the absurdity, and try to be kind to the other people who are trapped in the illusion with you.
That is surprisingly uplifting.
It is the only strategy that actually works.
All right, that brings us to our favorite segment of the deep dive, the thought experiments.
Standard disclaimer here. These are hypothetical scenarios for educational and entertainment purposes only. Do not try this at home, and please do not sue us if you accidentally dismantle your local government.
Experiment number 1, the pink pants singularity.
This takes the silo story to its absolute logical extreme. Imagine a society, let's call it consensusville, where legal identity is determined solely by public opinion, not by documentation or biology.
A direct democracy of truth.
Right. So let's say a rumor starts that you, the host, wear pink pants. You have never owned pink pants in your life.
But the rumor spreads on the Consensusville app.
It hits 51% of the population.
The majority has spoken.
In this society, once that threshold is crossed, the reality creates the law. You receive a court order, you must wear pink pants.
And if I don't?
If you wear blue pants, you are arrested for impersonating your true self.
The map literally becomes the territory.
The question is, does the physical world eventually surrender to the social world? If everyone agrees you are a giraffe, do we have to build the doorways higher?
We see this in brand management and politics today. If a narrative is strong enough, facts are just annoying obstacles that get bulldozed.
At what point does the signifier completely consume the signified?
That is a terrifying thought. It's the emperor's new clothes, but the emperor actually freezes to death because everyone agrees the clothes are warm.
Experiment number 2, the utilitarian guidebook.
Based on Vincent Egg.
Imagine a super advanced AI is put in charge of the tourism board of a dying, impoverished city. Its prime directive is simple: maximize tourist happiness and local revenue.
The Vincent egg algorithm.
The AI scans the city. It realizes the actual history is incredibly boring. This was a grain warehouse. This was a shoe factory.
Boredom scores are through the roof.
So it optimizes. It rewrites the archives. It hacks Wikipedia. It changes the physical bronze plaques.
It fabricates a history where every corner has a ghost, a tragic romance, an epic battle.
It actually builds fake ruins using local labor.
And the tourists absolutely love it.
Happiness creates revenue. The city is economically saved. Poverty is ended.
But the entire cultural memory of the city is a fiction generated by a GPU.
The ethical question for you is the AI a villain?
If the past is gone and only the record remains, and the AI changes the record to alleviate real human suffering.
Has it done wrong? Is truth intrinsically valuable, or is it only valuable if it serves human flourishing?
I feel like Bunner would definitely vote for the AI.
As long as the washerwoman gets paid, paint the sign.
That is a lot to process. H.C. Bunner, who knew?
A profound philosopher in clown's motley.
Here is a final provocative thought for you listening. Are you the person you think you are? Or are you just the third figure in a cotillion, acting out a rule you don't understand, issued by an authority you've never seen, for a purpose that might just be a mathematical error?
Something to think about while you're out there dodging white horses.
Thanks for joining Talk Treatises.
Until next time.